Brooke, thank you for your time today. I had a blast meeting you just under a year ago in San Antonio at the Final Four, and I'm looking forward to talking with you about basketball. My first question for you today is, when did you fall in love with basketball?
Thank you, Ryan, for having me on. That's a really good question. When did I fall in love with basketball? I'd say I'd have to fall, I fell in love with basketball just at an early age. Just, you know, being able to play, on the blacktop, my backyard, just those peaceful moments of me, the ball, the hoop, um, and just any game situation that I could think of, whether it was a buzzer beater, or it was a late game shot. It was just basketball was just my sanctuary, and I think that's what got me so close to the game of basketball is the peace that I got from basketball and just being able to play it, and just the cool memories that basketball has been able to afford me.
What are some of your favorite memories from growing up? You mentioned some backyard or driveway basketball. What are some big memories that you can think back of as being a kid playing basketball?
I kind of draw back for my memories of playing basketball is just um, playing 21 one on one. Going to the local gyms, indoor gyms. Having grown up in the Midwest, it's snowing majority of the winter months. Um, so I spent a lot of time after school playing basketball, and I think that also gives you cool connection with other people in an open gym, being able to do pickup or just running over to the cart and being able to pick up a basketball, and you knew that that was just freedom, and I think that that's what was really cool early on, just having those big moments of hitting a shot, and then also just really pushing yourself, and being competitive early on playing basketball.
A lot of what you've mentioned so far is the solo aspect. Are there some people that helped shape your love of basketball?
Yeah, I would say I, my cousins, um, also classmates, where we would uh, play, and really focus on getting better on whether it was in practice, middle school, high school, um, and you know also the coaches. Definitely want to shout out the coaches in middle school and high school that really give you that discipline, what it takes to be like a team player. Um, making sure that you're finding your teammates, passing the ball, looking to rebound, looking to be a good team player. Um, I think that's what really kind of gave me that connectivity of, basketball is a team sport. Like everybody has to work together. It's not just one person, that makes the team go. I know with superstars in the day and age of superstars, it's really easy to forget that. But I feel like being grounded by my coaches and teammates, I think that really helped me really form that foundation of what basketball means to me as a full team sport.
I like that. And I want to dig into this a little bit deeper here. Who are some role players that you cheer for? Is it a Robert Ory back in the day? Or is it just you knowing, hey, here's my role in the team and here's why I'm important?
Yeah, there's a number of role players that I would cheer for or would get excited to watch them play. Uh, I would say just one that kind of just like automatically just pops in my head is uh, a role player uh, by the name of Trenton Hassel. I don't know if maybe for some Timberwolves fans, but he was somebody that I knew just played the game the right way. Um, whether he was guarding the best player every single night, and currently it would be Jaden McDaniels. That's another role player, but he's definitely a rising star for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But he and Trent Hassel, one of those role players that I always just love their game, and they get you. to the root of basketball in regards to they're competing, they're not letting up, and I think that's where the rest of their teammates are able to feed off of them. I think that's the real true DNA of a winning basketball team. Another player I know that uh, he played I think with the LA Lakers, AC Green. He was another guy that was a role player. You knew that when once they inserted him into the lineup, you knew that the energy was going to shift or there was going to be you know a different way that they were approaching that. And the same thing with Derek Fisher. I'm just talking about the teams that I watched really close with Lakers, and even his time with Utah, it was cool to kind of watch him um, just flourish and really bring his style of game of just being aggressive, and and what he brings to that championship pedigree of basketball.
This might be a tricky one, but what is a basketball team that has meant a lot to you? It could be a team that you played on, it could be a team that you cheered for. What's a basketball team that has meant a lot to you?
Yeah, it is a tricky one. I think a basketball team that meant a lot to me, I would say, would have to be back in middle school. I feel like getting that first jersey, um, you know, uh, being part of a team, uh, going with the ups and downs of the results, like the grind of the season. I know it's middle school, but like it was like, all right, you had that solidarity with your brothers on that school bus trip to a road game, and watching your teammates play, watching um, your teammates, and also taking part in the success of those wins. And then I think just learning the game. I think that's what really stays with me. Is just that gave me that that lifetime memory of just what it really took to be part of a team. And I think just like the whole state of basketball. I think you really get to appreciate it when you're finally putting on a jersey and you're part of a team. I think it's a really cool sense of that.
We had a chance of meeting, not at the game, but you were there for the Final Four weekend in San Antonio, and I was going to the championship game. So, needless to say, you and I have gone to a bunch of great basketball games. When you think of games that you've gone to, what are some basketball games that stand out for you?
Oh, Ryan, you're taking me back to the Final Four. I'm a big UConn Huskies program, so both men's and women's. But this was the men's national championship in Glendale, Arizona. They were taking on Purdue. It was Purdue and UConn in the national championship. So I was there at the championship game, and that just you know sticks out as one of the most um, you know important games that I've ever attended live, and just one of the most memorable games too, just because of the intensity. The Purdue fans, I tell you, they're deep. They run deep. They run deep in regards to the way that they travel. They travel really well. But Storrs, Connecticut, definitely showed up and showed out for the UConn Huskies. Uh, that was just one of those games where it's just like you had to be there, because that whole Final Four was really cool too in regards to the story of that Final Four where UConn and Alabama had a classic game prior to the national championship. Um, NC State made it on a Cinderella run with DJ Burns, and you had Zach Edey for Purdue. Great program with Purdue and Matt Painter. So that was kind of just the perfect prelude to the national championship. But yeah, the history of that game, just watching all those great players, and all these current players like Stephon Castle. You still have Alex Caravan still at UConn, all-time UConn Huskies winningest player, um, and at that time they were looking to go back to back. So that was cool to also have that sense of looking to see a back to back title. So yeah, that stands alone. Another one I would say for NBA, if I was to go NBA and kind of bridge that conversation, uh, I'd say it was last year. Watching, I'm sorry to say this, but not really. It was against your Golden State Warriors. But watching the Minnesota Timberwolves advance to their second consecutive Western Conference Finals, and it happened on my birthday too. So like I think that also has a special place for me as well. It was really cool to watch that live and just the atmosphere. Even though one of the greatest players, Stephen Curry, was not in that series late, he did start game one, but uh, watching Game Five live, I think was cool just to see the energy that the Minnesota Timberwolves have given the Minnesota public, and what that team really means to the state and to the fans in the NBA.
Those were two great answers for the question. And the question was, what game have you been to? Now, a small basketball pivot. What is a game that you were on the bench for, that you played in, that sticks out? And it could even be your first game in middle school. It could be any basketball game. It could be an epic pickup game. When you think back on games you've been a part of, what's a game that sticks out for you?
I think it would have to be an epic pickup game because I think I couldn't miss. Like it was it was 4th of July, um, and I was playing up in Forest Lake at a friend's cabin. Um, but yeah, it there was a lot of trash talking. Obviously, you're just out there, um, you know, at a cabin, and you're just like, all right, we're just out hooping, and there was a lot of trash talk leading up to the game. So for my performance to not miss, I think that is what really sticks out to me. And then I think uh, I do have a post on Instagram too where I really it just felt like an emotional like wow like I was able to do this like and I think there's moments in basketball where it is an emotional game and even though you still have to control your emotions while playing uh, to be able to uh, stay on track. Whether it's a defensive assignment, but I think that's what really stood out for me is just being able to, uh, play good defense, stay aggressive, but still, like every time the ball left my hands, I knew it was going down. And when you're in the zone, you're in the zone, Ryan, and I was in the zone, and I think that's what really sticks out for me in regards to just my personal career of just playing basketball, both organize and just pick up. Um, but yeah, that's what helps me just kind of just reminisce as a basketball player. Those moments.
As an adult, why is basketball still special to you?
Why basketball is so important to me? I feel like basketball is important because it gives me the opportunity to travel, get to meet great people like you, Ryan. I've been to a couple different, basketball arenas. I've been to um, for Martin Luther King Day. I was down in Atlanta, just having a really good time, and got to see Victor Wembanyama for the first time ever. So that was cool. And I know that we met in San Antonio. That was really cool. Shout out to Miteria. I mean, that's one of the finest Mexican restaurants in all of the land here in the U.S. Maybe all of North America, but I know some people will debate me on that. Feel free to debate, on the chat. But yeah, I also just like getting out and like getting reunions out. When I was in Arizona, I got to spend some time with one of my college classmates, and he's a reporter out in Yuma, and I know that just special moments in what basketball has been able to just allow me and afforded me so far, and I'm really excited to see what it will afford me in the future, because I know that there's going to be more basketball, and I hope to continue to you know be a student of the game very closely. And I think that's what it comes with in regards to um, you know being indoctrinated with the sport. And I think the sport is so welcoming from all walks of life, and I really enjoy that about basketball. So yeah, that's what really makes it important for me, is just the inclusivity of the game of basketball, and just the people that are around the game of basketball. It is a very cool atmosphere, and being to two Final Fours now, being able to see that firsthand.
You mentioned being a student of the game. Who are some people you learn from? Do you just watch game tape? Do you have a chance to talk to coaches? How do you increase your love of the game by being a student of the game?
Yes, that's a great question, Ryan. Yeah, I think being a student of the game and just staying close with, um, this the stewards of the game. I think reaching out and staying connected with coaches. I've met coaches at Final Fours. I still have their business card. I'm looking to reach out to them. Ask them questions about the game, what they are seeing right now. Um, you know what what they want to see develop in the game. I think that's important to kind of also know that the game is always evolving. Whether it's the 3 pointer, um, you know, the evolution of, some of these players are playing combo guards. Um, you know, a lot of times point guards were not scoring point guards. Um, when I first started watching basketball, like you would have a pass first uh, point guard like a John Stockton or Terrell Brandon, an Andre Miller. I know Andre Miller for some people where you didn't really um, you didn't see that too often, like past him. You had Chris Paul, who just recently retired. He was a score first. You got Steph Curry, he's a score first point guard. And you're kind of seeing that shift of the guard and, um, all the changes. But I think for me, it's just all about just staying close with um, the changes of basketball. Um, and I think that's the evolution. I think just keeping a close eye on the pulse of the game.
What do you think and what do you hope basketball looks like for you when you're in your 50s?
What basketball in my 50s, I hope it to be, or where I plan it to be. Um, yeah, it's to continue to stay close to the game. Continuing to play. You know, um, continuing to travel and continuing to speak about the game. I think that is something that I want to continue to do into the future. Also, I think at that point I would be where my kids would be my future kids. I want to talk in future tense here. Uh, my kids would be at that level where I'd be able to coach, be involved, traveling, whether it's um, just any kind of tournaments that are going on, being entrenched there. And again, I would not force them to play basketball. I think it's just more about just like if they were to also have the passion for the game, I would definitely fuel it and help them get to exactly where they want to go to. And I think just overall, I think just staying active with the game, whether it's playing, coaching, covering it, that's where I see myself, in my 50s and this later years, you know, in my adult life of just, taking a look at, all the aspects and just also just enjoying the game. I think getting to a game and just observing the game as a fan, I'm looking forward to just spoiling myself to, front row seat, and being able just to enjoy a game and I think that's where I see myself at that stage is traveling, coaching, also playing, um, and also being like a true speaker of the game and actually just um, you know engaging communities with the game of basketball.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing what you love of basketball and some of your basketball memories. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. Thank you again for having this conversation and helping me relive some of these memories and being able to talk about the game that we both love, basketball.